Good morning, everyone. This is Rachel Petera, your host for the Dream Big interview series. And we're here talking about and talking to some of the trailblazers all around the world in the talent, HR, and recruitment space. So I'm here in New Zealand, and it's just after 9 a.m. in the morning, and I'm joined by my guest today, Torin Ellis. Torin is the CEO of his own consultancy, which is the Torin Ellis brand. So welcome from Baltimore. Torin, how are you?
From Baltimore, we say good morning to you, good evening to those on the East Coast, and good early afternoon to those on the West. A pleasure to be with you, Rachel. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Torin. And I've been super excited because diversity is something that I am passionate about. It is something that is, I think, part of my DNA. And I really am looking forward to getting stuck into this interview. So let's get going, Torin. I think first and foremost, this is the Dream Big interview series. I'm interviewing people from the UK, the US, New Zealand, Australia, you name it. They're on as part of my interview series. So what inspired you to be part of the Dream Big interview series, Torin?
So again, thank you for including me, extending that invitation and allowing me to participate and to share my voice. I always say, thank you to an individual that allows me or that trusts me to share that voice with their audience. So what inspired me was just the title itself. You as the host and the facilitator of these powerful conversations, many of which I've been able to listen to and to share with my social media, audience, if you will. But the fact that you are capturing thoughts from individuals that want to push beyond boundaries of mediocrity, the fact that you are engaging with individuals that are pursuing things that perhaps at one point they would have never thought were possible, but yet they are in position to do right now. I wanted to be one of those individuals to share with you that we are trying to climb a mountain, and that mountain of diversity is a really steep mountain. It's a conversation that's been negative for the most part. It's a conversation that is often misunderstood. And so for me, dreaming big means having more people to understand exactly what diversity really means, how we can all play a part in it, how we all do play a part in it, and how we move it forward so that it's not necessarily received in a negative light.
Yeah, absolutely. And, that whole piece around, how can we do it as a collective? It doesn't work when we're doing it, in silos. And I love that piece around, how do we all be part of this conversation around diversity? So thank you. It's really my honor to have you part of this series. So let's learn more about Torin, and how about a quick whistle-stop tour of what brought you to today, to your success, because you have been really successful, Torin. What brought you? What were the milestones that got you to where you are today, Torin? I'm sure our audience would love to know.
Just a few of them. I think growing up in the Midwest, I was born in the South, down in Hollywood, Florida, and so I'm a Floridian, and all of my roots are from the Bahamas, if you will. So I'm a Caribbean, Floridian type guy. And so I grew up in the Midwest. My father, every single time we moved, he was being promoted inside of Sears and Roebuck. And so we landed in Ohio and Indiana and Davenport, Iowa. And in many of those places, I was not necessarily among a lot of individuals that look like me. And so I had to learn to get along with a variety of audiences, if you will. And so I think one of the first things that was imparted upon me, my father made sure that I understood clearly the demand of doing good work, clearly the demand of being willing to be the person at work and not an individual that needed to be told that he needed to work. And so my father had extremely high expectations of me. And so as a young lad, if you will, I had a paper route. I cut grass. I scooped ice cream at Baskin Robbins. I did a variety of different things. I corn detasseled, which is, getting on a machine and pulling corn out of the corn stalks in fields in 100-degree weather in the middle of the summer, so that I could purchase my school clothes. So I've been a person who has always worked all of my life. When I graduated from high school, I went to the military, and I chose to do military versus college because I've always been that person that worked, and I wanted to travel. I wanted to make money. And so when I got to the military, I tested into a position of a communications analyst. I was a radio communications analyst. In another word, I was a spy. And so it was very fun to be young, to be 18, to be trusted with what you thought was top secret and sensitive material.
I can imagine.
Later on in life, I learned that, well, it was top secret and sensitive, but it wasn't the real juicy information. But that being said, I spent some time, supporting America in the United States Air Force. So that was a very fun stint. I got out of the military and tried to make and find my way down in Texas, and that really wasn't working out for me. I moved to Washington, D.C. in 1993, got a job with MCI Communications in 1994, and I promise you, ever since then, it has just been a rocket because we have just taken every single thing that we learned at MCI Communications. I ran sales teams, one of the most productive and most tenured sales teams in the entire country. And when I left MCI, I said, if I can hire and I can develop and I can lead teams for them, then I can hire and put people in place for a variety of organizations. And so that, Rachel, is what got me to where we are today. I've been in the recruiting space for the last 18 years on my own, and I have concentrated over the last 2 years on becoming a diversity ambassador, a diversity activist, a diversity maverick, a person who really focuses on doing good quality work, but making sure that diversity is included in each and every search engagement. That is who we are.
Fantastic. And that is exactly why I really was so excited about getting you on this interview series, because we hear a lot about diversity. Yeah, I worked in the space of, really looking at gender diversity. Yeah, I wasn't across everything because I believe, that was my strength and that was my passion. And, a lot of people still don't understand what diversity and inclusion truly means when you're working in the talent recruitment space. Can you give our audience, the real basic, what it actually means in the corporate world? What does it mean when we say we are working in diversity inclusion?
So let me use this conversation as an example. When you extended the invitation to me, you knew that the subject would be diversity, but in knowing such, you had your own thoughts and the way that you felt the conversation would unfold. Mm-hmm. I, in turn, received the invitation and I had thoughts in how the conversation might unfold. And while those two are different, you being in New Zealand and being Rachel Patero, me being in Baltimore, Torin Ellis, those differences can collide in a really wonderful way. And we will ultimately, over the next 20 minutes, have a very fruitful conversation. That example is what diversity is. Diversity begins with thought, and it covers everything else in between. And so I think that for corporate America, for individuals, they must understand and recognize and embrace everybody enters into the scenario, whether it be the workplace, whether it be a community event, a networking event. Everyone enters into that place with a different perspective, a different level of experiences, and they bring that to the equation. And as long as that is embraced, that is an acceptance of diversity. In the end, we want to be able to bring, as you have eloquently said, we want to bring our full selves to the equation. Is that simple enough?
I think that's a fantastic analogy, but it's also a fantastic example. And the thing that I love about what you've just said, it's a positive example. Yeah. And absolutely. That is the piece that I am really, like you are really focusing on. Previously, it could have been perceived as a negative, but actually everything that you are doing, everything that I want to do and achieve in the space that we're working is all about the positive things that are going to come out of those collective conversations. So, this This is where we're coming from. So Torin, I'm just going to ask you, when you speak actually, is to use your microphone, because I think the sound slightly is just slightly better.
No worries. Is that better right there?
That's fantastic.
All right. So as long as it doesn't look bad on camera, we're going to make it happen.
Hey, we look great on camera. We don't have to worry about that. So the next piece that I really wanted to move to, because I think this is where the juice is that, you know, there are a lot of challenges around global talent. Yeah, sure. and there's the recruitment challenge. There's there's graduates who aren't getting into jobs. But in the diversity space, what are the biggest challenges or challenge that you see for corporates, but also for candidates? What is your view? I'm looking for your opinion, Torin.
So I think from the corporate perspective, I'll go back to my last response to you. I think that number one, from the corporate perspective, we have to do a better job. Organizations have to do a better job of understanding that when the word diversity is shared or uttered, that it means much more than African American. Mm-hmm. I refer to an article in the Huffington Post from January of this year, and in that article it said that less than 1% of the Fortune 500 companies will have a diverse leader as their CEO. Well, inside of the article, the example that they gave was an example of African American CEOs of Fortune 500 companies. And so, sure, I appreciate seeing that example, good, bad, and different. I appreciate that, but diversity means so much more than that. It's socioeconomic diversity. There's educational diversity. There's geographic, religious, and race-related diversity. There is gender diversity. There's so many different types of diversity. And so I think that from a corporate standpoint, number one, we have to be very honest and accurate in the sense that diversity means more than just this or just that. The other issue that I think is important from the candidate side when we talk about diversity is preparation. You know, I can do all of the recruitment that I'd like at a historically Black college or university. I can do great deals and put forth effort in recruiting at Hispanic and Latino universities, if you will. I can concentrate on these various populations, but when I get to you, when others get to you, you have to be prepared for the opportunity. You cannot expect that an organization is going to lower their standard of expectation because they're here and in business to do good business. And so I think that equally important is that candidates must be prepared. If you want to wave the flag of diversity, or if you want to chase down the result that you're looking for, and you do that in the cylinder of diversity, you must be prepared. I don't suggest to any candidate that you have to be twice as good, but you must be prepared. Does that make sense?
It does. It does. And so what does prepared look like for you? What do you expect them to come to you with?
Well, I expect them to just be as good as the next candidate. You know, what if they graduate from a particular school, I expect them to have the knowledge and awareness and the applicable skills, or at least 7 out of the 10 things that the requisition is looking for. Preparedness simply means that if I put 3 candidates in front of a client, I want all 3 to be equally as talented. They may each have a different flaw, a different red flag, but equally they are talented, and that client would be happy hiring 1, 2, or all 3. That's what I want. So prepared doesn't mean anything different. It just simply means you deserve to be in this conversation. You deserve to be in the pool of consideration. And so because that deservedness is there, we are able to move forward.
Fantastic. I love that. And that's really, it's about equality. It's about bringing the right people to the table. And if you're as talented, Torin's going to put you forward. Yeah, but Absolutely. Be prepared to be on the same agenda as everyone else.
Absolutely. I mean, again, I can't call a client and have them make concessions because, I want to put a diverse candidate in front of them. And while I'm on that point, one of the things that I try to tell all of my clients is when I define diversity, I simply mean that in the consideration, we will make every effort to put diverse talent in front of you. Yes. That is my definition of diversity. Every single engagement, we will make that effort to put diversity in front of you.
Fantastic. So in this space that you find yourself every day, every minute, yeah, in front of these big corporates, what is it that that these companies are buying from you that is unique to you and your business, that differentiates Torin Ellis brand from everyone else? Because as you know, as I know, there are people in this space, there are organizations in this space, there are consultants in this space. Why do they come to you, Torin?
Number one, empathy. I think when clients engage with me, they understand through my rapport building, through my discovery, they understand that I work with a high degree of empathy, that I'm not here just for a transactional payout, that I'm not here for a one-time hit, if you will. They know that I am a genuine and authentic individual. To that end, I will share with you that I've been recruiting for 18 years, and I have only replaced 3 candidates in that 18-year period. So I really work with a high degree of empathy and a high degree of precision. When clients engage me, they do that because they know that to some degree I'm going to work with a different level of speed and authority than they can. You know, they may have a deep talent pool in a particular area, but that talent pool may not bring about the individuals that they are actually looking for. And so they'll come to me and they'll say, Torin, you know, can you assist me with this particular search? We've had some trouble with it, or we've hired a few people and they haven't worked out. Can you assist me with it? Or they may say they just have a growth problem. You know, we need to hire people. And while our internal recruiters are doing a fantastic job, we still need more people. And so we want to work with a smaller firm that is nimble, that understands our business and is willing and can assure us that they're going to do good work. So I think that's what clients get when they work with me: authenticity, empathy, and they get a level of precision that they perhaps are not accustomed to in working with other recruiting firms.
And, you know, I love that about how you package your business, because, you know, you get a lot of people and a lot of consultants and organizations, and, you know, you ask them, what is unique about you to, you know, your competition? And you have to have that real sense of purpose, is what I'm hearing from you. And your purpose is very much aligned to who you are. And I think this is something that is coming across in all the interviews and all my guests. They come to the table with not just, this is my business, this is what I do, this is what I'm passionate about. It's completely aligned to your values as a person. And when you have those two things happening in synchronicity, it's like the magic formula.
So let me tell you, I've gone through, again, 18 years. So I've experienced the tech bubble of 2001 and the demise that it placed on my business and my family. I experienced the economic collapse of 2008 and watched hordes of recruiters get out of the business and go to do something different. And through all of that, I'm still here. And I'm here because I enjoy and love human capital. I love being able to connect candidates and clients with opportunities that will do better for them in terms of their knowledge base, in terms of their opportunity to grow, and of course, in terms of their financial compensation. I'm happy to connect clients and candidates when organizations make that hiring decision, and 12 months, 18 months from the day they made that decision, they can call me and say, you know, Torin, we really appreciate this person that you put in. They've impacted our bottom line 1x, 2x, 3x, 5x. You know, those are the types of calls and whatnot that we enjoy. But even more than that, Rachel, when you say it's core, it is my DNA. I love the work that I do, so much so that I travel around the country and I speak at colleges and universities and do career development boot camps, and they're focused on diverse audiences. I want to make sure that whether or not I can directly benefit from the work that I'm doing, I want to make sure that more and more and more people are prepared to pursue the opportunities that they feel they are qualified for.
Wow. Yeah. I can hear it and I can feel it. And, you know, I know we're like on the other side of the world, but I can really feel your passion, Torin, and it's amazing. So now we move to the future. Yeah, what are your dream big goals for 2015, 2016, both personally or professionally, whatever you'd like to share?
So professionally, we want to be on the short list. It's real clear and easy for me. Professionally, I want to be on the short list. And when MSNBC, when Fox News, when the radio stations, when magazines call, they need someone to talk about diversity. I want to be one of the 5 or 10 individuals on that list. And the reason why I wanted to be there, one, is I'm a practitioner. I'm not a theorist. I'm not a person who's read a great deal of books and can eloquently wax on the subject. I'm an individual who has performed in the trenches, and I've engaged with hundreds of clients, thousands of candidates. And so we know what the organizations are looking for. I want to be a go-to individual in 2016 regarding the conversation of diversity. I'll take you back to the top of the conversation. You said that my definition was positive. Much of the conversation around diversity tends to be negative. So we want to make sure that we can add some positive light to the conversation, because I think more often than not, or far too often, when people hear diversity, it has a negative connotation. It's a type feeling. You know what I mean? And I don't want that. When they see my email, when they see me on television, when they hear me on radio, I want them to perk up. I want them to listen like, wow, this guy is really saying something positive, and I can work with that type of an individual, or I can take what he is saying and I can institute it or implement it somewhere else in my business. And whether or not I'm working with him or not, I still have a different perspective around diversity and inclusion. And speaking of inclusion, that's probably more important than diversity itself. Yeah. It's what happens once an individual gets inside of an organization. And so when you say dream big, I want to be able to help organizations map out what it looks like, a complete strategy for 2016. These are the things that we are going to do to increase your pipeline. These are the things that we are going to do to better vet your talent. And ultimately, the measurement will be how many of those individuals are hired into your organization. Yeah. I want to be measured and held to a standard. But at the end of 2016, I want organizations to say, you know what? Not only did you deliver, but you exceeded our expectations. So that's what we want. And I think that if we can get that, then personally, I'll get all the things that I'm looking for.
Yeah, fantastic. And so 2016 is about continuing to take it to the next level. And, one of the things that I really believe in, and like you, is actually we as passionate, purposeful leaders in our industry, we need to go and talk about it. So we actually need to go and do the magazine adverts, the television, the radio. It's part of our role. And by sharing, whether it be on this interview series, whether it be on Top Recruiter 4 series, which I know you'll share with us in a minute, it's really important to talk about it. And more, I really want to say to our industry is, it's okay to go and share authentically. It's okay to go and do speaking events that will serve others. It's actually not about us. And when you can get that into your head, it's very, very powerful. So, all kudos to you for going out and, spreading that word.
Well, I think it's mandatory. I mean, I think that, being in a room full of recruiters and having a conversation, it has its value. But equally as important, and perhaps even more important, is being in a room full of candidates and sharing with them how recruiters work and what is it that internal assets are looking for in terms of talent and how to engage with human resources. And if I can share that behind the veil type information with them, ultimately we are doing a better job of preparing people no matter where they are, no matter what industry they're in, no matter what role they're pursuing. And so I think that we have a responsibility, and I operate as if I have that responsibility, that it can't always be about a direct benefit. There has to be some level of service. We live a life of service, of giving back, of depositing in other people And so that's just the way that I operate. So I must make sure that I extend the platform, and that most definitely is the goal for 2016, a much larger platform.
Yeah, great. And you've obviously just come off in a very exciting event, which I'd love you to just share with us as we wrap up this interview. And it's part of going out and talking about what you do. So you've just been part of the Top Recruiter Series in Miami. I think just a couple of weeks ago, actually. So thank you for joining us, because I know you've been so busy. What was the experience like?
So we had competitors from South Carolina, from Texas, from California, from Canada, and myself. And so when I think about the 5 additional people, to include a beautiful contestant from Hungary, when I think about the 5 individuals that were in that home, that mansion, and we stayed together for an entire week. When I think about collectively all of the work that we've done, listen to the conversations that were had on and off camera, I felt honored to be included in that mix because they were some extremely talented individuals. They were passionate about the work that they do. None of us recruit the same type of people. None of us work for the same types of agencies, if you will. And so it was just a really beautiful experience that we brought these talented individuals together. We lived together for an entire week, and ultimately we competed against one another, but we were able to do that without, let's just say we were able to do that. I don't want to reveal too much, but we did it in a phenomenal way. And I think that ultimately the producer of the show is extremely pleased. I can say without any apology, without any hesitation, that he feels like this is the best year yet. And that's what happens when you are dedicated to your craft. You are willing to deposit more and more and more into such. And that's what he did. And I think that when he produces and releases the project in late September, early October, people that view it are going to be extremely pleased. I know that they're going to be extremely pleased.
Wow. So I watched in awe as the 6 contestants, including Torin, were part of this, and I take my hat off to Chris. He's another passionate individual, and I know that the end product is going to be superb. So, Torin, I would love to stay and talk to you all day, to be honest, but we all have businesses to run. It's your evenings. I'd like you to go and spend some time with your family. But from the bottom of my heart, I would love to say it's been an amazing just over 20 minutes with you. I appreciate you. I acknowledge you for all of the work that you've been doing for the last 18 years in this space. And I just know that whatever you decide to do going forward, you will do it, with all the empathy, all the energy, and all the consideration of others that I know that is that, because that's the place that you come from. So from me to you, thank you so much, Torin. Sorry.
No worries. And what I would say to you in closing, and the words of the late, great Maya Angelou, she will tell you that people may forget what you say, people may forget what you do, but people will never forget how you make them feel. And so my hope is that when individuals view the conversation that you and I have shared, that we give them a good feeling about pursuing diversity and inclusion, that we give them a good feeling about working with a Rachel Patero or a Torin Ellis or some other recruiter or mastermind coach located somewhere in the world. I'm hoping that from this conversation, they just have a really good feeling, because I know that I have. So thank you again for allowing me to be a part of such.
Fantastic. Well, you have a great afternoon or evening in Baltimore with your family, and I look forward to continuing the conversation, which I know we will in the near future.
Absolutely. Thank you. Enjoy your day over in New Zealand. All right.
You too. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Enjoy. Bye-bye.